Well, a bit of a cold, windy night here this evening. It's dark and I've left my glass of red wine upstairs and the fire and come down here to do a little bit of work on the Healey. And I've started working on the back seat swab here. Now, if you are an upholsterer, as I say, please be gentle with me. I'm trying to get this together by myself. I'm aware that the seats need to be built so they're going to last, but part of this whole car restoration thing is to show anybody that if they have a little bit of ability they can do it, and that you don't have to be an expert to do this sort of work. And that really applies to everything that I've done on the car, because although I've had a bit of experience, I'm not an expert, and a lot of this looks like I know what I'm doing, but I'm making it up as I go along. As I said earlier, I didn't buy the back seat foams. In retrospect, probably I should have. They're not that expensive, but the cost of getting them over here is a little bit steep. So I really thought I could make up my own. So what I've done here is I have a basic foam base, which is 30mm foam, about 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches probably, I think, in the old money, as we say here. And I've built up the shape, you can see that, using some felt, which is the same sort of felt that I used on the seat base earlier on, and is around about 3/8 of an inch thick, I suppose. And that will give me the section here in which I will glue the fluted parts of the back seat panel. Now I've also put some cloth over this area here, and this is glued on, and the idea is that that sort of blends in the edges a little bit. Doesn't need to be perfect because I'm still going to pad that out, and I'll show you the material I'm going to use to do that in a moment. These legs here on either side have been padded with felt. I've used some felt on the back section there, which you can see, which is about the same thickness as this. But on the inner side I've used some of the thinner black felt, and the reason for that is I don't want to build up too much thickness on these, because the little bolts that go through these holes that you put a dome nut on the end are only of a certain length, and if I have too much thickness on here the bolts may not be long enough. So that's the project so far. The next step is to bulk up these sections around the periphery with some wadding of some sort, as the originals were done. And I'm using some of this polyester wadding here that I have, which will go around this section here. I'll glue it on, so they'll go all around there and just slightly over the tops, so that hopefully that will give us a really nice edge. I'll try the covers on and make sure they fit before I glue them into place. The other thing is that these edges here, through which the screw passes to hold them onto the base, are covered with, I guess you call it an envelope, like that. On the earlier cars I think they were in one piece with the seat cover, but on the BN6s and the later BN4s they were separate, and the ones I took off were separate. So this is the little envelope which is sewn up. One side is leather, one side is vinyl. Now, I'm not sure which side is supposed to go where, but I think that the leather goes on the inside. These fit over. They really just pull on to the arms like that, and then when the seat cover is fitted, it covers over this section here, because the actual seat cover itself comes down lower than that. That's not pushed on fully yet, needs to slide up further. So that is the project so far, and we're going to proceed now and put some of that white polyester flocking type material, which is probably an advance on what they used in 1959 actually, and hopefully that will give me the shape that I want, in order to get the nice sort of edges on the seat back. We'll see how we go. Well, there we go. I've glued on some polyester padding all around that area, and just also taken it over the back so I can give myself a nice edge, I suppose. And I guess the next step is to try the covers on. I've also, you can see I've put some around this area here, just to sort of soften that up a little bit, but not too much. This padding here is thicker than this. This is a thinner section there because I don't want to bulk out these little earpieces too much there. So I guess the next thing is really just to try the covers on without gluing them and just see how well they fit. Well, there it is. You can hear the rain on the roof here. It's in the evening. That's the seat back covered, and actually has come up really well. A few little creases there which I might try and smooth out. They look a bit worse with the light shining on them like that and the shadows. Difficult to fix these sections here down, these little corner bits here. There are two pieces of steel inside here, one for this front section of the cover and one for the back section. You can see how that's clipped underneath there. I think that's how they go, but that was quite a difficult job to do, particularly these pieces here, which caused me no end of trouble. I'll put the seat together and have a look and see what it looks like, but generally I'm pretty pleased with it. I would prefer not to have those creases there, although this really won't show when it's put into the seat. We'll have a look at it and see what happens. And there is the finished product. Generally I'm pretty happy with it. As I said before, the white piping does tend to show up any inconsistencies, and I think some of the inconsistencies are possibly in the sewing. I don't know, but the overall effect is good, and I'm hoping that when they are out in the sun a little bit they'll soften up and move slightly. There are a few little creases in them, but that doesn't bother me a great deal. The seats are hard to sit on, or firm I should say. I don't mind that. I know a lot of people prefer them to be softer, but I don't mind that. They are comfortable, I will say that, and the padding feels quite good. So there we go. It wasn't a particularly easy job, I must say, particularly the backs, but they've come up well, and although the white piping has been a bit of a source of concern, getting the lines right, I'm very happy with the finished effect of the white piping against the red, and that's what the car would have had originally. I believe that the old English white cars had white piping against the red. This car, as I said before, was originally black, and it had red trim, but it had black piping on it. But just a thing to consider if ever you're doing this is that the piping will show any slight crookedness in it. So I'm glad I've got that job done. I've got the car up on jack stands at the moment because I'm having yet another go at bleeding the brakes, and I have managed to get a little bit more air out of the rear left hand brake there, and I'm getting some pedal. I don't know whether the air's getting in. We'll see how we go. I'll just persevere with it. And also I've sent the wheels off to get the tyres pulled off them because they're very hard and I can't get them off. So the tyres are going to be ripped off those. I'll get the wheels back and I'll start truing them up. I've got two wheels here already that I've trued up and replaced some spokes in, which I'm going to use for the car. And I've got four others, so I'll choose the best two that I can use. But there we go, and that is the end of the 50th video, which is a bit of a milestone. Thanks for watching, and I hope that this upholstery stuff is useful to anybody who's doing the job. I still have to do the back seats section here, and that will probably happen hopefully within the next few weeks.